Hello, on behalf of Onvoi and Onvoi Interactive, my company, I'm going to try to make a comprehensive video presentation so that in one viewing, venture capitalists and venture capital groups can fully understand the strategic vision and the initiatives at hand that need to be accomplished in order to enable the Onvoi goal. Onvoi is an interactive company, which essentially means that we're developing the Onvoi Entertainment System, the OES, which is going to be an interactive console unit, a little box that gets installed underneath the TV set and is compatible with any TV set, regardless of TV manufacturer, because via AV wires, and it's going to be user-friendly and simple to install. The consumers are going to install a little box underneath the TV set that's called an interactive console unit, and is part of the Onvoi Entertainment System. Now the other component, not component, but the other part to the OES is it's the little box underneath the TV set, and it's also the keypad device, which is like a remote control that the consumer holds in the hand and has two push buttons. The keypad device, which is user-friendly, it has two push buttons, will allow the audience or consumers, purchasers of the OES, the Onvoi Entertainment System, they're going to be able to hit top button or hit bottom button, and they're going to be able to influence and guide how the stories and the adventures on the screen unfurl, or how they turn out, how the outcomes, different stories, different endings, alternative endings. And it's going to revolutionize entertainment and technology, because it's going to give consumers more choice over the storytelling and the stories and adventures of the characters on the screen. So essentially how it's going to work is there's going to be a user interface, a graphical user interface, a GUI, that's going to be like an interactive prompt. So during a certain point in the story on the screen, the consumers are going to have the choice to either hit the top button or the bottom button on the keypad device, which is a two push button remote control. And based on the audience input, the interactive input from the consumers, the participants, the audience, based on the interactive input, the story on the screen will turn out different. There'll be different endings and storyline twists, plotline twists that will be accessible based on the choices and the preferences and the desires of the audience watching the OES at home in the living room. We think it could transformationally improve and delight audiences of all types, because the OES, the Onvoi Entertainment System, will lead to a new entertainment medium, which is going to be interactive content, where it's different from passive traditional content, because it empowers audiences and gives them more choice and more of a say in the storyline. What themes get rewarded? What values are promoted? What do they see as right and wrong? And what ending do they view as a happy ending? And when they, based on who they watch it with, basically who are the people in the room holding the keypad device in the hand in the living room, whether it's family or friends or whoever you're watching it with, the input, the selection from the when the interactive prompt on the screen appears is going to be different. So if you're watching the Onvoi content, the interactive content at home with a certain person, and you can't get the result or the ending that you want to see in the movie, then you try to watch the Onvoi title, the content, with a different person, so that it can, that way there's going to be an incentive and an impetus for consumers to watch content again and again, because upon the first viewing, they're not going to see all the available options in terms of the storyline and the plot twists and the adventures that come with the Onvoi Entertainment System, an original and distinctive entertainment platform that will delight audiences of all types, from the elderly to adolescents to children. So we have the keypad device, which is a two push button remote control that comes with the interactive console unit, and that's a little box that gets installed underneath the TV set. And the GUI will be the prompt, the interactive prompt that appears during certain sequences and scenes throughout the story watched on the Onvoi platform, where at that point the audience gets to submit their interactive input, and the keypad device is going to have a wide range signal. So while no matter where you're sitting in the room, even if you're in a very spacious living room or wherever else you want to watch the Onvoi content, a very spacious room, then regardless of where you're sitting or standing or pointing the keypad device, it's going to be able to work because it's going to have infrared and radio frequency capability, and it's going to have wireless systems that's going to be able to produce a wide range signal, so that way consumers won't be inconvenienced by saying, I'm pointing, and it's not working. The keypad device will have 2 push buttons, but it will also have a 4-way directional pad asset on the side panel of the keypad device for menu navigation purposes, and so that when that interactive prompt presenting the audience member or the consumer with the 2 storyline options as to how the story should proceed, in order for them to be able to submit their interactive input to help guide the story, guide the adventures according to their wishes, wants, and desires, then that directional asset, 4-way, up, down, left, right, on the side panel of the keypad device, that directional asset will allow them to toggle in between the 2 option buttons and within the interactive prompt, so that they can scroll, and select using the main primary push button on the keypad device. Now, that's for direct-to-consumer purposes, for home entertainment purposes. One of the advantages to the OES is that it will be a standalone and autonomous platform. So negotiations with TV set manufacturers for placement, or likewise with internet placement as far as .coms, those issues, competitive issues, will not be there because it will be an autonomous and standalone entertainment platform. Because of the AV wires, cables, it's going to be able to be easily installed with any TV set manufacturer, and that way we don't have to worry about quibbling with long-term negotiations with different about who's going to offer and who's not. No, you're going to buy it at the store, and we hope to have a retail strategy where Amazon sells it, Target sells it, Walmart sells it, Best Buy sells it, you name it. And you're going to be able to buy the little box, easily install it underneath the TV set, and it's going to present the consumers with delightful content that's unique because it has an interactive component to it. But we're also thinking about doing our own content brands, our own content franchises, interactive content franchises that will come pre-programmed into the Onvoi entertainment system, so that when you buy the box and install it underneath the TV set, it's ready to go, and you're going to have Onvoi titles that are unique and original and will delight audiences of all types, the elderly, adolescents, children, people of all ages. The interactive titles, franchise titles that we're developing currently and hope to be able to develop have to do with different themes. The primary objective at hand is for the content, the interactive content, to promote practicality in everyday lives. Consumers need to be enlightened from a social utility standpoint, from a practicality standpoint. Even though the audience is empowered, the audience will be guided subtly or not so subtly to make rational and smart decisions in everyday life, and to approach problems constructively, challenges that they face, regardless of what situation they face, what challenges, what obstacles. The content is going to instill in audiences the right values and the right themes, in that it will not only promote kumbaya, pie in the sky idealism, which is so commonplace in the entertainment content of today, but the Onvoi entertainment content hopes to instill a lesson of practicality in audiences. Essentially, we think futuristically, and we want to embolden and encourage audiences of all types and all ages to think big and let them know that the sky's the limit, but that's not even true. The sky's not the limit. There's no limit to your potential and what you can accomplish in life. Now, we do it not through empty words and pseudo-motivational speeches, but we do it through content, animation content, that will have people think strategically, practically and futuristically about how we can develop better city-states, better municipalities, better townships, better environments, here at home, domestically, and all over the world, even though the content should have its own unique ecosystems, environments, so that it's not particular to one country or one state or one particular geographic region. But essentially, concepts like AgroMax, one of the interactive franchises will be AgroMax, which will be a wholesome and futuristic program that will promote agricultural machinery. And in some ways, we're undergoing now the fourth industrial revolution in terms of human history. And it's more important than ever that modern day machinery is implemented, utilized, manufactured to improve systems and processes for working populations of all types, regardless of industry. One area that I'm particularly interested in is that of agriculture and deforestation. We have so many undeveloped acres of land, hundreds of millions of undeveloped acres in the United States of America. And yet we have, in terms of population density, we have so many people living in such a limited geographic ranges in terms of we're cramming so many people into so many overcrowded cities. And the cities have spiraled out of control in terms of ethics, in terms of morality, in terms of decency, in terms of demographics, in terms of productivity, in terms of job availability, in terms of rental availability, in terms of home ownership opportunities. The cities are almost not sustainable anymore. So in this type of an ecosystem from an entertainment content perspective, instead of complaining about problems, we're going to create solutions. And the AgroMax will be able to, through futuristic thinking and practical engineering-based thinking, in terms of logistics and in terms of technical know-how, in terms of science and math, audiences of all ages will be inspired to dream big, but also to think practically about what we need in terms of tools and equipment in order to foster the creation, cultivate the creation of new ecosystems and new municipalities and new townships that are conducive to a high quality of life and to people having children and living happily ever after. So a lot of that is we have these hundreds of millions of undeveloped acres. And how do we clear these forests? It's going to promote innovation. We can have the conversation about environmentalism versus industry. That's been explored in content so many times, it's not even fun to think about anymore. But we could do that because it's important, because we want clean water and we want clean air. But that said, it shouldn't take natural disasters like fires and windstorms and hurricanes, Cat 5 hurricanes, to wipe out millions of hardwood trees so that we have the proper paper supply, the proper cardboard supply for product packaging, for the bags that you use at the supermarket, so that we have the proper wood on hand so we can manufacture domestically furniture of all types, from coffee tables to dressers to bed framings for the bed for you to sleep on at night. It's essential that we use that for economic purposes, but also for clearing the land that is available so that new city-states can emerge and be developed, city-states that will be more practical, more conducive to productivity and happiness than any city-state ever designed in the United States of America previously. Some of the themes will be not only the development of new cities and how to make sure those cities are properly governed and that the human capital, the residents and the citizens of those environments are taken care of to the best of their ability. It won't just be about developing cities, it can be about developing airports. We have invested tens and tens and tens and tens of millions into these airports that have become crowded with inefficient security protocols and procedures, where the travel industry was beleaguered needlessly for generations, to the point where American consumers gave up on the travel industry entirely because the idea of getting on an airplane was so difficult and cumbersome and unpleasant that people would rather just stay at home and do nothing than take a trip from one city to another in a commercial aircraft. We have issues where commercial aviation firms and certain companies that I won't name, when the manufacturer, whether it's Boeing or it's Airbus, builds a phone charger on an airplane so that the passenger, the consumer, can get on an airplane and charge a mobile phone when they're traveling, the airlines proceed to retrofit the technology that was the hard work and the innovation that the airplane manufacturer used to build the phone charger in the plane. The airlines take that away from consumers. So those phone chargers should be available on every flight. Those are the types of innovations that we're going to promote through the Onvoi interactive content, so that children know that it's not only about thinking really big and thinking really far into the future, but what about practical things, initiatives at hand that could be fixed today, tomorrow? If not, it should have been done years ago. Certain things that are preventing the enabling, and of progress and social improvement in our society. So we're going to build practical airports. And this is part of AgroMax, and it's part of other interactive entertainment franchises, ones that I'll name later. We clear the land. We're building a new airport. Are we going to follow the exact same model for the airport that we've already done 250 times nationwide and hasn't worked to practical fruition? I hope not. That's the importance of this edutainment. It's educational and it's entertainment, and children, adults, adolescents, the elderly, young people, old people. Everyone's going to love it because everyone's going to learn from it. Simple things. It can be for a junior series, age 0 to 8. How is it that an 8-year-old can figure out walking into an airport that we need extension cords so that people can charge their phones while they wait for the 4-hour delay in their flight from city X to city Y to city Z? Something as simple as an airport installing a power supply or more outlets into the walls so that people, when they don't even have a chair to sit down in, they can at least charge their phone while they stand down. Homeless veterans in wheelchairs, waiting for a freaking airplane, uncomfortable, unable to even sit down and enjoy a cup of coffee, or having to pay $15 for Wi-Fi. We can innovate and we can promote innovation through these interactive entertainment content franchises, through the Onvoi entertainment system that will be state-of-the-art and will be revolutionary in terms of thinking and strategic vision. But above all else, it will be practical. Part of the new development for these new municipalities and city-states and places for people to live will be the construction and the emergence of the proper telecommunications equipment, from 5G to broadband internet to Wi-Fi networks that will be reliable and will work regardless of distance. We need infrastructure, telecommunications. We need infrastructure initiatives that will better enable technology. It's 2020, and in some ways, we're in the dinosaur age. We're in the stone age as far as technology. We still have unreliable software, unreliable hardware. The Onvoi entertainment system hopes to be a model in leading the pathway forward in terms of practicality and functionality. The Onvoi entertainment system, the little box underneath the TV set, we're dealing with different prototypes as far as how it's going to work logistically. But we are hoping to engineer a unique digital data disk drive where when the consumer pushes upon the top of the box, it will prop open. It's called a propulsion function. The propulsion technology, when you push on top of the little box that goes underneath the TV set, it will prop open. And it won't be a cartridge, but a unique and proprietary Onvoi data disk that we call a fun pack will be able to insert it, be able to be inserted. And it's distinctive and it's exclusive to the Onvoi entertainment system platform, that technology that we're developing. And then you're going to be able to insert your title that you buy at the Toys R Us, or you buy at the Walmart, or you buy at the Target, or you buy on Amazon, and you're going to be able to put it into the little box, and then you're going to be able to enjoy the interactive Choose your own adventure, guide the stories, guide the adventures of the beloved characters on the screen. We talked about Agromax. That's agricultural machinery. And above all else, those are just the characters. We have one character that's a baler. We have one tractor that's we have one character that's a tractor. We have one character that's a futuristic innovation model where it's going to be a helicopter. I used to have, to make a personal note, I used to have a red-boned coonhound when I lived in the country, and he was of timber chopper lineage. He's a good hound dog. Timber chopper, one character could be a helicopter with a separate accessory blade. Adjacent to the helicopter, you add in an adjacent blade and it can chop down these hardwood and softwood woods in seconds. That's how, and it would be very effective, and we wouldn't need to rely on natural disasters to clear these forests, because that's not good. Timber chopper could be a character. Tractor could be a character. Baler could be a character. You want to do one of those? I'm going to do a lawnmower character. And his goal is going to be as quiet as possible, because we have so much noise pollution in the suburbs and the cities with people with leaf blowers and lawnmowers that I think some of the manufacturers of that equipment were irresponsible in terms of the aerodynamics and the acoustical ability, in terms of they did nothing to lower the megahertz as far as decibel level, and how that the sound of that would disrupt everyday Americans' lives when they were trying to work, study, and live their lives. It's a cultural tragedy when we have disrespectful people with lawnmowers from 2004 making as much noise as possible and disrupting everybody's quality of life through noise pollution. So we can have a character in Agromax called Lawnmower. And you know what? His goal will be, I'm going to be as quiet as possible and as respectful as possible so that something bad doesn't happen to me. And that'll be a funny way for people to watch that on the screen and laugh. Hopefully they'll laugh, because it is entertainment. So that's Agromax. Now let's talk about another one. Let's talk about cadence. Cadence has to do with time. For many generations, thematically speaking, in real life, we've wasted a lot of time. We waste a lot of time studying in schools that don't teach properly. We waste a lot of time watching shows and movies that don't encourage, that are discouraging, that don't motivate. In fact, they demoralize. We watch a lot of shows and movies that are too long in duration, and that they don't promote the right themes, because they do more to distract people from practical goals and initiatives than they do, and they make a lot of mistakes, moral mistakes, strategic mistakes, life decision mistakes. The Onvoi content will be the opposite of that. It'll be wholesome and uplifting and of a positive nature. So with Cadence, we're going to explore the theme of utilizing your time wisely, but it won't be in a boring way. It'll be every second counts, every millisecond counts, every month counts, 12 months in a year, 10 years in a decade. Every decade counted. Every decade going forward counts. Every hour of every day counts. It's cadence. It's tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. That means a militant and steadfast march towards prosperity, innovation, and quality of life. Every second counts. We have problems where many people, young and even middle-aged and even older people, they perceive the prior generations as having been complacent and not having put their best foot forward, and being too easily satisfied with the status quo, and then expecting for the next generation to enjoy and experience the same, I won't say miserable, but the same unideal circumstances and outcomes that they suffer. So essentially, if the older people and the older generations are giving up and they're telling the next generation it's just the way it is, and none of the content is inspiring children to think in a new, bright, and forward-leaning and forward-thinking manner, then this type of content, Cadence, is going to teach the generation that's watching, the children's market, and it goes to adolescents, and even the elderly will agree with it. They're going to think every second counts, every eon, every millisecond. content. Every generation counts. Every decade counts. Every season counts. Fall, spring, winter, summer. We're going to make all those segments of time and temporality, we're going to make them characters. And we're going to give them positive associations so that people don't have unproductive thinking and thinking, Friday the 13th is unlucky, or Friday's a lazy Friday, or Sunday's a lazy Sunday. Every second counts. And it doesn't mean work nonstop. But it does mean if you want to accomplish something, you have to put your best foot forward. And if you waste time like a fool, then your life's not going to turn out great. And I'll add one other caveat. If you waste time like a fool, your life's not going to turn out great. And if you start interfering with other people's lives and keeping them from succeeding, then watch out, because you're going to get wiped out. And that's going to be one of the social messages and themes that's going to be present in Cadence. And that's just one example. We hope to hire, even if it's freelance, creators, and we have the themes and the episodes and the pilots and the mini Bibles and everything ready to go. It's going to be very easy to create. That's going to be the easiest part. The technology is easy too, believe it or not. We just need the money. Okay, so cadence is temporality, and the segments of time become characters to inspire audiences and give them the social message that every second counts, every year counts, every moment counts. Put your best foot forward. And good things can happen to you if you don't waste your time. Then we have AgroMax, which has to do with the industrial revolution, the building of new environments. And these characters, the baler and the tractor and so on and so forth, they're going to put through hard work and strategic thinking and imagination, they're going to be able to enable new environments where people can be happy. The other one I'll talk about is Aeronautics. Aeronautics will be an original franchise on the Onvoi entertainment system that will explore marine machinery and will explore space, as in the Space Force, as in the new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces that is dedicated to patrolling the skies above. So it has to do with water and it has to do with outer space. And it doesn't have to be psychedelic or trippy or too out there, but there's a lot of practical things that people could learn if they were to learn subtly and not overtly some of the fantastic things the U.S. military is doing in terms of initiatives, in terms of the Space Force. And NASA. NASA's a great institution also. The American imagination has always been fascinated with exploring the frontier of outer space and astronomy. And aeronautics will enable consumers to enjoy practical themes that have to do with marine machinery and aeronautical equipment. And it won't just be bam, bam, boom, boom, boom. We need something more constructive than that. Too many movies out there, 3-hour war movies. It's not that good for people. Constructive. What will the aeronautics crew, the aeronautics team do today to embolden and in a practical, constructive manner help the everyday people who are trying to live their lives the best they possibly can? How can they get rid of distractions, goal deviation? We want to hear mission accomplished? Then the aeronautics crew is going to help yourself to make that happen. And it's going to be an exciting team in another frontier that does everything within their power to optimize and maximize quality of life for the citizens beneath and underneath the skies, people on Earth. They need help. Aeronautics crew is going to help them. Just wait. Guess what? Then we have marine machinery. That means everything from a cruise ship and a jet ski to an air carrier, to a freight vessel, to a tugboat. So many great things have been done in terms of industry, both recreational and in terms of shipping of goods, technological products, shipping of cars from one country to another. So much good has been made possible because of our fascination, our exploration, and our dominance over the waters adjacent to the United States of America. And when I say United States of America, we can do ecosystems and environments that are imaginative, original, so that from a selling standpoint, when it comes to these content franchises, we're not limited to the 50 continental states as far as consumers, because part of the strategy will be to have reach and to have sales and financial results in all 7 continents. But I say that because the United States is a microcosm for some of the problems and solutions that can be presented and solved in these mini-series, interactive mini-series that are animation that can be featured on the OES and will delight people of all ages, young and old. So we have cadence, we have agromax, we have aeronautics. Then let's talk about prolifics. It has to do with construction. It has to do with how do we build the skyscrapers? How did we build the bridges that connect the waterways? It took engineering prowess. It took imagination. It took scientific know-how. Those values will all be promoted. It's about efficient and effective construction processes, systems and processes. So it's also about the construction, and it ties into other themes that will be explored in other franchises, but it has to do with the building of an artificial sun in the sky. It has to do with asphalt, different gradients and grades of asphalt that are more conducive to luminosity on the roadways, so that people, motorists, aren't stuck driving on pitch black roads at night with no lighting overhead, so that roads are safer, and so that the building materials used in the roads are sturdier and last longer, so that they need less repairs to begin with. It's scientific thinking, it's imagination, and it's innovation. And we don't use the same materials to result in the same black roads. For many, many years ago, the United States built the interstate highway system across all 50 states, some of the most elaborate hills, some of the most extravagant mountains, some of the most complicated terrain. Those interstates were built in all 50 states, and it was a really smart strategic project that turned out really well. But we can never rest on our laurels and say that was done. More infrastructure is needed, but more intelligent and forward-thinking infrastructure, so that we don't get into pork barrel bills, and we don't get into deliberate inefficiency and hand over a contract to somebody that's really not going to do a good job, or they have favoritism in the system. Rather, it's going to be new lean startups and emerging startups and even established companies that have pure intentions, genuine intentions, and good ideas, innovative ideas, industrious ideas, are going to get rewarded with the work, so that one episode could be, instead of having a traffic jam and a road closure on a U.S. highway for such a long period of time, we're going to have content that's going to instill the values of imagination and innovation, so that, first of all, when the road is built, it's built sturdier. Second of all, with the new gradient and the new variant of asphalt that is color coordinated, a purple road, a yellow road. That's going to lead to more luminosity at night without having to erect elaborate power towers in terms of electricity. And that leads me to the other thing. What was that crazy thing I said earlier about building an artificial sun? This is prolifics. We build things. Construction and development. It promotes construction and development, scientific thinking. Artificial sun in the sky. The luminosity problem. Here in Washington State, we're undergoing the darkest month of our year, so that we literally have 7 hours a day, if we're lucky, for sunlight. We can get such little done during such a limited amount of time. If there was a sensible structure hovering over our environment that would safely and effectively illuminate our roads and our neighborhoods, they could be dimmed remotely. They could be, the lighting could be enhanced remotely. So much more productivity could take place. And this is something that we want to explore, an interactive mini-series where in 4 corners in every major geographic region of the United States, or a fantasy based environment, in every geographic region they're going to build an artificial sun. And we can tie in different types of energy, from solar energy and even nuclear energy, which, believe it or not, it's not all taboo. There's a lot of good things that can be done with nuclear, and wind energy, and whatever it takes to propel this remotely illuminated, that safely. We have to think about the way God created the universe. God created the universe in 7 days. If you believe in the Bible, and many people do. But he did it in a rush, didn't he? But at least he did the best he could. But he did the whole universe in 7 days. Well, God needs help, apparently. We need to do our own thinking, too. We can't always rely on him. So, the sun that God built will last 300 million years, maximum. Eventually, the real sun in the sky will run out of batteries. I know it's fusion. It's not batteries, but it will be dimmed. It will run out of light. So one episode is going for the Prolifics series. Watch Prolifics on the Onvoi Entertainment System, featuring Prolifics. When you watch the episode on the artificial sun, the human populace in all 7 continents is going to face a day where the sun runs out of batteries and is no longer illuminated in the sky. So in order to prevent the world from becoming a dark cavern, rife with crime, disorganization, and mayhem, in order to keep the lights on, the human race and noble governments and smart corporations and ethical businesses, inventive, intelligent businesses, work together to create an artificial sun in the sky that was even better than what God created so many eons ago. Wouldn't that be an exciting episode? That's the type of, we hope to heighten the imagination with Onvoi. We want practicality and we want good values, but we also want to heighten the imagination, but in a practical way. We don't want kids to be lost. We want them to be smart, and we want them to contribute. I'm trying to think if there's anything left for me to say. There is. The technology that we hope to be able to develop and implement the interactive technology as far as a little box underneath the TV set for the home entertainment, the direct-to-consumer market. Eventually, similar technology, that interactive console unit, will be an interactive receiver unit where we hope interactive experiences, simple, user-friendly interactive experiences, can take place in the cinema, in the cinematic setting, in the movie theater setting. So that while the primary goal and the main initiative at hand is the building of the OES, the Onvoi Entertainment System for home entertainment purposes, eventually the 2 push-button keypad device, which can be charged in a charging station, kind of like, you know how when you have a cordless phone, back in the day when we had landlines, and the cordless phone would have a base station, a charging station, where you put the no wire, the cordless phone in the charging station, and you could, some models even had 2 cordless phones that you could charge in that charging station. Well, the OES for home entertainment will come with a charging station where up to 5 keypad devices will be able to be charged. So that way the consumers have a place in the house where they can, how many times did we lose a remote control underneath the couch? Or a little kid watching the TV or a DVD takes the remote to another room and then you have to buy another unit. Okay. We're going to have a simple, practical place in the house where you can charge the 5 keypad device is in that charging station. And then the kids and the adults can grab, once the keypad device is charged, they take it and they watch it and they point it towards a little box, and with infrared and a wide range radio frequency signal, they get to guide the adventures and guide the stories and have more of a say in the tremendously exciting Onvoi stories that take place on the Onvoi Entertainment System. But then eventually similar technology can be made possible in cinema. We could have more motivational reasons, state-of-the-art reasons, new compelling reasons for people to go to movie theaters more than ever again. If in a simple, user-friendly, and practical manner, the people bring that Onvoi keypad device, the little remote control, they bring it into the movie theater, and then when these interactive movies, full-length movies, start playing in theaters, then instead they can have many Onvoi keypad devices in the room. There's an interactive receiver that's Onvoi branded in the projection room where the projector is in the movie theater. You put that in the back. The signal towards the screen is actually read by the interactive receiver unit in the projection room, And this way, audiences will have new, exciting, and motivational reasons to go to movie theaters so that they can guide the adventures and guide the stories and have an interactive say in fascinating movies that will be created for the cinema and the movie theater setting. And we're going to have, hopefully, quality, the ability of the keypad device, the remote control, to be charged. It will be quality and long lasting, so the gentlemen can keep a keypad device in their jacket. The ladies can keep a keypad device in their purse. Gentlemen can keep a keypad device in the console unit of their truck, keep it in their truck, so that way they have it charged, ready to go. And when they see at whatever movie theater chain it is, we can do select movie theater rooms, exhibit halls within select movie theater chains. They're going to have that keypad device in the truck. They see interactive cinema. They pull in. They have the Onvoi keypad device that they bought for the OES. Same or similar technology can be brought into the theater, and the revenue possibilities and the return on investment possibilities are through the roof. They're astronomical. They're very lucrative. I think that's all I have to say for today. Thank you so much for listening. On behalf of Onvoi Interactive, I very much hope to hear from the venture capital groups so that this pioneering and innovative vision can be made a reality, and consumers of all types can be delighted beyond belief by watching Onvoi and the Onvoi entertainment system and the fantastic and phenomenal entertainment opportunities that it will offer audiences of all types. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day.